and welcome to Focus on Liberia. Welcome to yet another broadcast here. I Focus on Liberia. As always, we are broadcasting from Atlanta, Georgia. Of course, this is the Hour of Politics with me, Anthony Sie, your host. Today is a special day. There is a piece of political information that is filtering in the Liberian community saying that some way, somehow, Mr. Alexander Benedict Cummings has agreed in principle to go number 2 to Joseph Yumambwaka. I didn't want to believe that news, and you guys know what we do here. We get to the people and we ask them to come and clarify. And so we reach out to the Secretary General of the Alternative National Congress, Mr. Aloysius in no time say, I'm coming, Anthony. I will provide that clarification that you are looking for. And so if you are just joining us, please hit that share button because the SG is here to set the record straight. But the questions that I have, where is this news coming from and why do we have to have that kind of information out there? Well, there's a saying in Liberia, where there is smoke, there must be fire. But hey, he's here. He is the one to answer the questions. At this time, I will welcome my guest, Mr. Aloysius, Secretary General of the Alternative National Congress. Mr. Toh, again, we are happy to have you. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Anthony. It's a pleasure being with you, as always.
Thank you so very much. And folks joining us here, of course, this is the Hour of Politics. And like I said earlier, our guest is Mr. Aloysius Toh, Secretary General of the ANC, that is the Alternative National Congress. And there is this question that will form our discussion here. Did Mr. Alexander Cummings actually agree to go as vice presidential candidate to Mr. Joe Yuma Bwaka on a CPP 2023 ticket? That is the big question. But along the way, we also have some questions. So let's get started here, Mr. Toh. I don't want to waste your time. You are a busy man. So the question is, did at any time Mr. Alexander Cummings have any conversation talking about whether or not he will go as number 2 to Joseph Yumambwaka?
That is a news in utopia. That news is nothing but a figment of imagination. Alexander Cummings has at no time had discussion. Neither did he consent.
Okay.
Neither does he intend to consent to running as the vice presidential ticket candidate for anybody within the CPP. The processes within the CPP, based on the framework document of the CPP, which speak to the selection of the vice Senate bearer and the Senate bearer, those processes have not even started. Those discussions have not even started. Mr. Cummings and no one has ever had that discussion about running as the second man. As Mr. Cummings noted time and again, he's contesting for the Senate bearership of the CPP. And come what may, declared or undeclared, said or unsaid, expressed or unexpressed, Alexander Cummings is going to be elected the Senate bearer of the CPP. No matter what happens. You know, look, there is strange happening within the body politics of this country.
Okay.
Where individuals manufacture story as a way of spreading propaganda based on their own personal interest. But that is far from the truth. There has been no discussion between Mr. Alexander Cummings and anyone, either in his dream, here on this planet Earth, or on Pluto or on Jupiter. There has been no discussion, even in heavens. Where Mr. Cummings has ever
even in heaven, Mr. Toh, this conversation is not going on?
Even in heaven, Mr. Cummings has never told anyone that he's going to go as vice president to them. He has not consented. So all of this fabrication, those are fear tactics of individuals who know that they are not going to make it through the competitive process. And so they want to sway public relation, public opinion. They want to get the appearance that Alexander Cummings has given in already, and so everything is fine. But the competition is going to be stiff. It's going to be very, very strong and tough. This is why Alexander Cummings is in the bushes, is in the trenches, engaging with the grassroots populations to make sure that the Liberian people actually know who he is. And when they are deciding, when the delegates of the CPP are deciding to any primary, they will know that yes, indeed, Alexander Cummings is the leader of the opposition community. Now, that has already been alluded to by a lot of political commentators, that Alexander Cummings is the only effective political opposition leader in Liberia. That is undisputed.
So, Mr. Toll, I still need more. I know you said this news, this conversation, nothing of sort has ever happened, even in heaven. And you are suggesting that this rumor is coming from maybe other political actors trying to sway public perception. How are you intending to counter this? Because this is a strategy that sometimes definitely sways public perception.
Look, the argument itself is flawed on its face.
Okay.
It's inherent with contradictions, and these are the contradictions.
Okay.
You know, when you talk about this, when you talk about the history of the selection of vice presidential ticket, Samuel Doe chose Harry Fuma Monimba from Lofa County because of the Lofa base. Charles Taylor chose, was it Dogolier? Yes, Dogolier.
Inon Dogolier.
Because of the Nimba base, and Nimba is the second largest county in this country. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf chose Joseph Nima Borka because of the Lofa base.
Okay.
Now, these same people, these same detractors have said Alexander Cummings is unpopular. If Alexander Cummings is unpopular, why are you happy for him to go as vice presidential candidate to your preferred choice? They are acting out of fear. They know Alexander Cummings is going to flog anyone he meets in any race.
But Mr. Toy, it could be, hold on, Mr. Toy, it could be that people have this understanding that Mr. Cummings, having worked in the corporate world, have a little deeper pocket, and election comes to money. So that is why they are happy, so that the CPP will not have some financial deficiency. Don't you think so?
If Mr. Cummings has deeper pockets, he's not the only person in Liberia, the only Liberian who has deeper pockets. Now, money does play a role in politics, but no, I'm not aware of any vice presidential ticket in the history of Liberian politics who was chosen on the basis of his pockets. And I'm just giving you historical facts.
Yeah.
Vice presidential candidates are selected on the basis of their ability to woo voters to the principle. In this case, they pretend and spread rumors that Cummings is not popular. Let's assume, but not admitting, that Cummings is not popular. Why are you chasing him to be a vice president? You say this man is not popular. Why are you chasing him to be a vice president? It's just common logic. And yet, they are unable to provide answer to that. So this is the real thing, though. They know the name Cummings has become a brand in Liberian politics. The tsunami of Cummings is sweeping every village. 2 weeks ago, it was sweeping Nimba. Last week it was sweeping Bon County. This week it's sweeping Grand Bassa County. And just a few days ago it was sweeping Montserrat County. It's going to extend in the north. It's going to go into the hills and the jungles of Lofa. It's going to go into the east coast of Grand Cru. It's going to go into the western belt of Kemau. And everywhere Liberians gather, Cummings has now become the household name on the lips of every Liberian. This is the fear that is sending to people who are so accustomed to power that they continue to go with the mistaken belief that they are the only qualified and competent Liberians who are deserving of state power.
So, Mr. Tor, you're talking about tsunami that is picking up.
Not only a tsunami, but a
sweeping
tsunami.
Okay, sweeping county after county. My question is, where is that tsunami coming from? What is generating that tsunami? Mr. Cummings have been around since 2017 when he first contested. We didn't see the tsunami, and you're telling me 3 years later he's practicing some or waving some manje wine here. So tell me, what is he doing? What's your party doing that is, or enacting the tsunami that you are talking about that some people don't know about?
The new political manifesto of the ANC requires that Cummings lives with the people, that he eats with the people, he stays with them, and he becomes one of them. This is what is bringing the tsunami. So as I'm telling you, not only is he visiting, he's living with them, the ordinary people. The masses of our people are rising up. He has become one of them, listening to their needs and their problems, sharing their cries and their pains and their agonies and their groans. And at the end of the day, he provides them a pathway to hope and survival. He provides them the path to a brighter future. He lays before them a vision that is going to save this country. This is the situation. And it's on the basis of that the people are now rising up and saying, Cummings is our man. And
so how is Mr. Cummings? Go ahead, end your thought there, then I can ask my question,
Mr. The people are rising up, they are waking up, chanting slogans like Cummings is our man. It is sending fear in the minds and the hearts of people who think that they are entitled to state power in this country. But the fact that you were in power yesterday does not mean there are no other Liberians who are capable of providing better leadership, even more than what you provided yesterday.
So yes, go ahead, Mr. Toe.
Go right on.
Yeah, I mean, the rumor, are you, who is spreading this rumor? Do you think this rumor is intentional? And what may be the goal of the rumor? I mean, put up your political or psychological hat here.
Look, we've gathered political intelligence a long time ago.
Okay.
Long time ago that this was coming. And you are going, in fact, if this one fails, which it is doing right now, you're going to have a situation where they are going to get involved in some devilish tactics and politics. So from the news of Cummings like gay, I mean, it's one of the things, it's one of the tactics. We are aware of that. To making it appear that Cummings has given up, to making it appear like he's not one of the Liberian people. So we continue to preempt every strategy and tactic of theirs. And anytime they try to bring it, we never in the butt.
Who are the DRs you're talking about, Mr. Toe? Are you afraid to call names?
Our competitors, our competitors and our detractors. I'm not going to call names, but they know themselves.
And you are sure they are the one doing it?
Of course, they are doing it.
Do you fear that this man cause trouble in the CPP because people are in an enrichment?
It's not going to cause any trouble in the CPP. It's all part of political competition. It's part of our democratic culture when people are fighting, even within internal party primaries, when people are fighting for the same seat, they say nasty things about each other. They say the worst things. So there's not going to bring about any split. You are in the U.S. You saw how Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama went against each other. You are in the U.S. You saw how Donald Trump and Ted Cruz went after each other. Politics, and these are people from the same political base. So, but during
that time, Hillary fought back. During that time, Trump fought back. How are you fighting back on these kind of tactics? Sometimes they have some propensity to derail your chances.
When to start a fight is our choosing.
Okay.
You know, when in warfare, in political and intellectual warfare, they have something called tacit bargaining. And when you have to see, and you have to sometimes you allow the enemy to exhaust all of their bullets and ammunitions. But what we are doing is in obedience to the teachings of one of the greatest African revolutionary, ANC-Secretary, who in his lectures, Danser avec la vie, who said like once in a while when you are dancing with the blind, you touch them so they can't think they are alone. So what the ANC is doing at this time is once in a while, we go after these guys and we break. And when we put them in disarray, they go and regroup and resurrect and launch another attack. And we hit them a little bit. But we have not launched any attack. We in the ANC have not launched any attack. Each time they launch attack, we try to disorganize and diffuse their attack and just hit them. in obedience to the call of Ahmed Sekou Toure, so they can't think that they are alone in this battle.
Mr. Toure, earlier you said, go ahead, sorry.
So the tactic of the ANC is to watch them as they exhaust their ammunitions, and nothing you're going to see. Cummings, all you're going to hear from them is Cummings is not popular. Cummings did not win Maryland. Cummings are gay. That's all you hear from them, nothing else. You will not hear anything. They will not tell you that Cummings is not competent. They will not tell you that Cummings is not knowledgeable because he's knowledgeable, he's competent. They will not tell you that Cummings is not an effective leader because he's an effective leader. So what they are going to be telling you about this, he's not popular, he doesn't have base, that's what they're going to be telling you. They're not going to tell you anything much. So we watch them. But when we are prepared to launch our attack, it's going to be serious.
All right. When we are prepared to launch our attack, it will be serious. I just hope it will not be serious enough to the
it's not
point
going to be
of
deadly. It's going to be serious, but not deadly.
All right. That was what I'm about to say because I don't know. But Mr. Toure, let me come to this. The CPP, from your framework, you have consensus and then primary and then the VPS that is not binding. So at what point you people are now with the consensus? I think that's the first approach or process. How far you people are now? Because it could be that there has been some form of conversation on consensus, and there where the rumor is filtering, but you are saying this thing is coming from utopia, no conversation whatsoever in heaven. So tell me, does it mean the conversation about consensus yet to start, Mr. Toure?
Look, Anthony, and I appreciate that you are following very keenly developments within the CPP. Okay. But sometimes you have to ask the critical questions to even the proponents of these arguments.
Okay.
That Cummings is likely to go at second place. There are individuals, there are heavyweights within the CPP by their actions and their pronouncement and by their public appearances with some other political leaders who are desperate to become a VP. Why are they not being mentioned? Cummings has said over and over and over and over that he has no desire to be anybody's VP. But there are individuals who, out of desperation, continue to even behave like border guys, just in the hope that they will be choosing as VP. Why are they not being mentioned publicly? Why is Cummings still being preferred as VP? So this is the thing, though. Based on the framework document, the 4 political leaders of the CPP have up to December 1st this year to decide among themselves on the principles of consensus, not majority rule. So if one person says no to the decision, even if 3 persons agree and 1 person disagree, if 1 person disagrees, the decision is not going to go home. So if there is, all 4 of them must agree on a ticket by December 1st this year. If that does not happen, assuming 2 or 3 or 1 political party says no to the decision of 2 or 3 other parties, we, based on the framework document, then we have to go for VPS, which is non-binding, but which is going to be used to aid delegates at the primary and inform their decision as to who is preferred by the Liberian people.
All right, let me hold you there, Mr. Toure. Let me hold you there. Let me hold you there, Mr. Toure. I apologize. Let me hold you there. This is what I want to get to. Why, if the consensus, I know you might say, I don't want hypotheticals. Why, if there's a consensus and the consensus holds that Mr. Cummings is going at VP, will Mr. Cummings take that deal, or is Mr. Cummings too good to be VP?
So the consensus, also the discussion about consensus as per the CPP framework document does not include the selection of the VP.
Oh, okay.
It's not restricted to the selection of the standard bearer of the CPP.
The standard bearer, okay.
So after the selection of the standard bearer of the CPP, as per the framework document, the standard bearer has up to 3 months to name his VP. The only caveat is that VP must be someone from one of the existing political parties, the constituent parties of the CPP.
So that means it presupposes that should anybody other than Mr. Cummings becomes the candidate, Mr. Cummings is not taking a VP deal.
Look, Mr. Cummings is a Liberian. Let's get this straight. You know, there's a process in this country called county meet.
Okay.
I'm sure you are aware of it.
Oh yeah, I am, Mr.
Every year it is organized by the Liberian Football Association. I mean, I'm going to break this down for the ordinary people.
Do that.
And since you and I are from Grand Cru County, I'm going to use Grand Cru as an example.
Please do.
When Grand Cru is selecting her team, is mobilizing resources, is registering to participate in the county meet. The anticipation of Grand Cru is not to go at second place.
Not at all.
The anticipation and the expectation of Grand Cru is to win the tournament. So I mean, let me use it. It will be stupid enough for the president of the LFA to call the Grand Cru team and say, look, we understand you are coming to this Olympic, but please don't fight to win the tournament. Just fight to go second place. Isn't that stupid, Anthony? So,
well,
the Liberian Constitution says every Liberian above 35 years is qualified to become president, who has a 10 years residency. And every Liberian, Cummings has made it known that he meets the criteria to contest for the presidency of this country. So he's going to vie for the standard bearership of the political arrangement in which he's situated. Other individuals have also made declaration. Then Cummings has been called out of all of them to say, you be the VP. What is the motive? Why are others not being called out to be VP? Why is Cummings being called out to be VP?
Maybe they feel Mr. Cummings is good for VP.
Who determines that? What authority do they have? What qualification do they have to even determine that the most potent, effective politician in Liberia is fully qualified to be VP?
Is that your own assessment of Mr. Cummings as the most effective? Okay.
I'm just telling you that political commentators have written publicly that Cummings is the most effective and potent political opposition in Liberia.
All right. Folks in cyberspace, you are watching the Hour of Politics with me here, Anthony C. My guest is Mr. Aloysius Toh, Secretary General of the Alternative National Congress. We call on him to come and provide clarification on this rumor going around that Mr. Cummings has agreed to become a vice presidential candidate, and he told us that news is not true. The conversation is not even taking place in heaven before to talk about any agreement whatsoever. If you have just joined us, we want to welcome you to Focus on Liberia. And again, our guest, the tough talking Secretary General of the Alternative National Congress. So let's come to the issue of the primaries. There will be primary, possibly, because given what you explained to me, all the political leaders in the arrangement must agree 100% to whatever consensus. And when there's no consensus, some way, somehow, you have to go into a primary because VPA is not binding, it's just a perception. Is Mr. Cummings in the better position in terms of numbers? Unity Party is being viewed as the bigger political party in the arrangement in terms of numbers. The Liberty Party is being viewed as the second largest. I know you continue to say we are the fastest growing, but we don't know the exact number. So tell me, looking at the numerical strength in the arrangement with the constituent members of the CPP, is Cummings standing a better chance compared to Bwaka and Yomli?
Look, this theory about numbers, let me talk about it. There was a rule of 12 years by the Unity Party. And if you understand the theory of patronage politics in this country where the government in power, everyone gravitates towards the government in power, then you will understand the whole number games and this noise about numbers in this country. So individuals and their families who had job security with the Unity Party believe that the Unity Party returning to power, they will still retain their jobs. And all of their family members were supportive. But as you will know, that anytime government changes, the base of that ruling government diminishes. Where is NTPL today? No base. Where is NPP today? No base. And you are telling me that the numbers that were accrued by the United Party on the basis of her being in power, and many Liberians gravitating towards, are those numbers still being maintained today? You are also suggesting that the United Party is going to be going against the historical trend that takes numbers from people, political parties, when they leave power. So yes, the United Party came second. But mind you, the United Party had power for 12 years in this country. Madam Sali was president. And so all those, including county superintendents and our people, were sympathetic to the United Party and they went alone. But that history has changed. The United Party no longer has power. More than that, the United Party controlled the economy at that particular time. And if you understand how economy is running in this country, loose money was all around. Do they still have loose money today? No, they don't have. Most of the individuals who are with the United Party because of survival instinct to get jobs, some of them are sympathetic to the CPP, CDC, and some of them have gone to other political parties. So I bet the United Party no longer has those numbers. If they had those numbers, they lost 5 by-elections in this country since 2017. If they had those numbers, they would have won those elections. So number is out of the equation. This is a totally different ballgame. Numbers are out of the equation. If they had those numbers, the 5 by-elections that the United Party lost, they would have won them. Cape Mount, Sano County, District 13, they lost all of them. Where are the numbers? Where are the numbers? That's past glory.
So the United Party, you say, is living on past glory. Those numbers are not constant.
Precisely.
The numbers are moving based on the political variables and, in terms of survivability there. So, but let me pick your mind again here, Mr. Toe. Which option in deciding the ticket of the CPP, in your opinion, is best for the CPP, is best for the ANC? Consensus only or
I can tell you
primary?
I can foresee, again, I'm not speaking, this is not the official position of the ANC, it's my personal opinion.
Okay.
I can foresee that the selection of the CPP's ticket is going to end up with primary, where delegates from the 4 constituent political parties are going to come together. And if other parties join us, because we are open to membership, if other political parties join us, then it's not going to be 4 parties. It might be 5, 6, 7, or 8 or 10 parties. So all of those parties are going to have equal representation to the primary, to the convention. And according to the framework document, if I'm not mistaken, I think 15 persons from the National Executive Committee of every party will have to attend the convention. 5 persons from each county will have to attend the convention. And 3 persons from each district of the 17 electoral districts will have to attend the convention. These individuals are going to come together to select the standard bearer. So it's not going to be the clique in Monrovia. It's going to be the ordinary people from Bon County, from Banga, from Bagleve in Grand Cru, from Saniquele in Nimba, from Roberts Post in Cape Mount, and from Tottenham Bromley County. The ordinary people, the grassroots of this country, who are going to form part of their party delegates, will go together and say, we want Mr. X. And that depends on how Mr. X, through his work, has appealed to them and have resonated with their emotions and desires. And they are going to cast the vote. Of course, the political theatrics in Monrovia may want to manipulate and tell their delegates, say, don't vote for the president, vote for the president. That's what they are hoping on, that they are going to mastermind their delegates. But we believe in the integrity of the Liberian voters, of the voters of the CPP, no matter which party you come from.
Thank you so very much.
With abiding faith, Cummings is going to lay his platform before them and lead them to their conscience. If they refuse to choose competence and move the other way, that's their business.
Thank you. So let's come to a possible primary scenario. It would depend on your work. It will depend on how you are viewed in the eyes of the delegates that will be selected. It will depend on who is viewed as credible But what we also know is that there are political players who will want to sway, the minds and twist the hands of delegates. How is the ANC or Mr. Cummings standing in terms of relationship with the LP, for example, because we see Benin Nigeria's party is almost like in a packet of Jose Yimambwaka. So what do you have? Who do you have on your side?
Well, I like the description you use. I'm not rejecting it. I'm not agreeing with it. Mm-hmm. But any political party that allows itself to be in the pocket of another political party does not deserve to live. It's a moral-born political party. So assuming but not accepting what you just said, another political party is in the pocket of another political party, that political party should be erased. Politically, you have no basis for survival. Because the only reason for your survival is to be in the pocket of another political party, then you have no basis for survival in the first place. So this is it. The ANC has relationship with every political party. We have good relationship with the Liberty Party. We have good relationship with the Unity Party. I mean, across the aisle, there are individuals who will like you. There are individuals who will not like you. Certainly. Even with the ALP, you can't tell me that I understand there are about 24,000 people who voted for the ALP in 2017. Of those 24,000 people that were sympathetic to the ALP, you can't tell me all of them hate ANC. There will be some of them who will like ANC. In fact, many of them I can show you. Many of them, many of them will be sympathetic to the ANC. And eventually, as Cummings always said, that throughout his whole life, he has been treated as an underdog. But he always worked to his disadvantage. People think Cummings is unpopular within the CPP. He does not have base within the CPP. He's not going to win because he's unpopular. If you know this man is unpopular and you have support of 3 political parties within the CPP, why are you worrying? You should be clapping and dancing. So if your theory that Cummings is unpopular, you have 3 political parties that will gang up against the ANC, why are you worrying? You should be happy and celebrating and singing Kumbaya. The ANC should be worrying. But why are we not worried? We are relaxed and they are worrying. They were supposed to be popular. There is something wrong somewhere. Something is wrong somewhere.
What is that?
That's false popularity. That's false popularity. And they know it. They know they are not popular.
Mr. Toll, let's discuss the CPP against the CDC a little bit. There's this general notion that I see in the CPP that our current president, George Manawia, is so bad. He's not doing well. The economy is a mess, so much so that any 2 individuals the CPP will put on the ticket, they're going to have a victory. Do you hold that view?
Currently, there are 2 political parties in this country, the CDC and the CPP.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the CDC has become such a terrible and horrible political party now that it's going to be a first round win for the ANC and for the ANC through the CPP. Because come what may, and I'm going to use a term that is been a phrase that has been used loosely in this country. Take it to the bank. I'm not talking about they take it to the bank by somebody on Capitol Hill. It's not a take it to the bank I'm talking about. I'm talking about real take it to the bank. Take it to the bank.
Who's that somebody, Mr. Tom?
Alexander Cummings is going to be the standard bearer of the CPP. And Anthony, I want to extend you an official invitation to the acceptance speech of Mr. Cummings for the CPP nomination.
Well, we are here. That time will come, Mr. Toll. That time will definitely come, and we will see. And if that happens, Focus on Liberia will cover that. Folks in cyberspace, welcome to Focus on Liberia. Many of you are wanting to ask questions. Many of you are wanting also to call. We will share the phone line so quick so that you can have the opportunity to ask Mr. Toll some questions, but let me get to some comments here so that Mr. Toll can respond. I see a lot of comments. Many of you are so basic right here. Let's read this long one here. I listened to Cummings on Spoon TV, and he said that he doesn't support gay marriage, or anything that has to do with it. So that accusation must just be part of the political drama in Liberia. One of my brothers also told me that Joshua is, no, I don't want to read this comment. I don't want to dignify this. I want people to ask serious questions here. Um, Let me see this one. Asked to why he was celebrating the CDC when CDC shut down Costa radio station. The CPP is weak and ANC is the weakest link. COP is stronger than the CPP. I think I need to look at what comments to read. We can't just read just about anything. We're having a serious conversation here. Aliu, we have our national budget for that. Meanwhile, out of Mr. Cummings' pocket, he has been able to reach out to many Liberians through his foundation and kind gesture. I want to be careful what comments I read. I won't read comments that will enhance this very solid conversation we're having. For 12 years, squanderers of opportunity in the CPP are greedy set of individuals who want to damage the country. Cummings needs to take firm stand against losers. Somebody is talking tough here. JMB is a dying horse who wants to use Mr. Cummings' clean character to rise back to power, but it will never work. Take that to the bank. We bank, Mr. Akaros Gray Bank. That is the bank that I know that people talk about. You are where you are because of mediocrity. Mr. Cummings is where he is because of self-esteem and competence, somebody said. Let's hear from Aliu Kadi again. You mean even those chairman, you mean even those chairman pay talk to the PLP as still part of the numbers? Somebody is making an argument. Let's get this one here from Donso. To change George Weah with JMB would be catastrophic mistake by Liberians. Somebody is making a comment right there. Let's hear from James. No, not James. That Winston. Winston said, Koya James, don't speak like someone that has no understanding of how government works. JMB wasn't the president, but rather vice president for Liberia, not Lofa. Somebody wrote. Let me see this one. Liberian people and their popularity business. We did not teach us anything. Mr. Toll, please respond to those few comments. I don't want you to dignify those other comments. We are having a serious conversation here. Liberians need to get serious when people are having a very educated and intellectual discussion. Go ahead, sir.
One thing we in the ANC believe in is to respect the right of Liberians to express their views. And I appreciate the writers who made all of those comments. Even the ones I disagree with, I respect their rights to express them. Like Heron David Thoreau said, no, not Heron David Thoreau, I think I'm just forgetting about it, but I'll get it name. He said, look, I may disagree with what you say, but I will protect your right to say that, to say it. Now, whatever the case is, you see, within the CPP itself, Cummings has proven himself to be what people thought he was not, or who people thought he was not. The name Alexander Cummings, the latest name to enter Liberian politics, and in fulfillment of the scriptures, the last shall become the first. The last man to enter Liberian politics is now becoming the first in touching the hearts of Liberians, in wooing the sympathy of Liberian voters. Is it something to celebrate for us? Yes, it is something to celebrate. Is it something to fear for the detractors? Yes. That is the basis of their fear. That is the basis of their fear. So yes, if you have the other guys on the other side about I was celebrating. No, I have never celebrated the shutdown of Roots FM of Mr. Costa. Prior to that, there was some professional engagement with Mr. Costa and myself. I'm not going to talk about that right now. But I'll tell you one thing. Whatever Mr. Costa was saying against his ANC, it's up to him. But there's another station in town here called Freedom FM. And there's some guy who's always on Freedom FM who makes derogatory remarks and rain profanities and even use vulgar language. I'm not going to call his name. While on my way to town, this individual was on the radio bashing Cummings, saying the worst things about Cummings. How he's going to go from, he was calling on communities, anywhere they see Cummings, they want big call behind and throwing out and running out. And so I posted on my Facebook page. I said Radio Kigali has returned to Liberia, or something like that, something in that neighborhood. Radio Kigali has returned to Liberia, referring to Freedom FM. The Costa and his people mistook my words and thought I was referring to the Costa and his group. 2 days later, the government shut the station down, and all of them built a theory that it was because of my statement that the government closed them down. But I'm powerful. If government will close you down because I just made one post on Facebook. No, it was not because of my statement. Neither was I referring to them. I uphold press freedom in this country in as much as some of the press freedom that is being exercised by other people is not press freedom, but press freedom. You know, when somebody is doomed to disaster. So some of the loudmouths, some of the microphone missionaries who go around here, who call themselves talk show hosts, they are not really exercising press freedom. They are exercising press freedom. This is in spite of that, I'm still committed to respecting their voices and, you know, tolerating their voices. I'm not hearing you. I'm not hearing you.
Thank you, Mr. Toh. Thank you, Mr. Toh, for bringing that to my attention. I was trying to set up something here, so I have myself on mute. Let's come to this back and forth that we see with your partisans and the partisans of other constituent members of the arrangement. It's been tense on social media. And what we also see is those of you who are leaders of ANC, you express this 100%, surety that Mr. Cummings is going to be the guy. Don't you see that as something that might be problematic? Because you and, your members are driving this 100% surety train. And it's like that's the only thing you hope to see and you want to see. Is there a possibility, should that not come to pass, for you to walk away from the arrangement?
My man, experience can suffer for Jesse, man. When you all see experience when play football, then say possibility that you don't win. We not see experience for Jesse. ANC is going to win the CPP primary. Come what me. I've said that. Declare or not declare. Take it to the bank. ANC is going to win the CPP primary. And Cummings is going to contest as stand-up bearer of the CPP against the George Weah administration and eventually even defeat George Weah during the first round. Take it to the bank.
Mr. Todd, the way you're talking, and there's a risk associated with that, and that's what I'm saying, but you're just repeating yourself on this confirmation that he will. Is it that you have some heavy hands, some war powers, moving some things for you here?
Experience can fight for Jesse.
All right. Mr. Toh, I would take that, but I'm not getting what I'm looking for because, you said it right that no one goes into. Hold on, Mr. Toh.
Let me get you the assurance.
Okay.
The ANC is committed to a fair and transparent process within the CPP.
Mm-hmm.
We will fight for a fair and transparent process. And as long as the process within the CPP is fair and transparent, mm-hmm. the ANC remain committed to the goals of the CPP, and the ANC is not going to lead the CPP. The ANC will not lead the CPP. We also fight and guard against anybody introducing crocodile within the CPP.
All right. Thank you so much. I will take that, Mr. Cummings. Though he continued to say he's going to win, but at the same time he said, the CPP must work, the CPP must hold.
The
We
CPP
will
will
see.
work, will ensure that the CPP holds together. The CPP is not going to fall apart. It's not going to disintegrate. Look, Alexander Cummings and Honorable His Excellency Honorable Joseph Nima Burka are very good friends. They talk quite a lot. Joseph Burka is a respectable statesman. He served this country honorably. He's one of the honest Liberians that we can boast of. Can anybody say negative thing about him? No, of course not. Alexander Cummings is one of the enviable individuals and characters we have in this country. One of the most energetic leaders. A man with profound vision for this country. Can anybody say anything negative about him? Of course not. No reasonable man would do that. The two individuals are best friends. Starting from the days at CWA. Even up to the time that Ambassador Burka was vice president. Until they decided to run separate ways in 2017. They talk every day, they meet every time.
So now we see.
By their followers.
Could that be where this rumor is coming from? Number one, could that be also where this your 100% surety of Mr. Cummings becoming the candidate coming from? Have these men agreed in principle that look, you can go, let's just play along? Are these leaders trying to just fool us here?
They have not agreed. There has been no agreement. We hope that such agreement comes.
Okay.
We do hope that such agreement comes. Look, politics, Liberian politics is exhausting. It requires energy. So I hope that over time, such agreement will come between the two of them. I hope two of them can find the wisdom to talk to each other and agree, where they're going to head. And eventually, that decision should be influenced by their commitment to protecting Liberia's interests, and not on the basis of anyone claiming entitlement to state power, or anyone claiming that I'm the best to be. But common sense will prevail, and that the best person, the most competent person, the most energetic person will be able to say, look, I can take this country now from these failures in power, and with your support, we're going to move ahead. And at the end of the day, it is my prayer, it is my hope that the decision will be that Alexander Cummings heads the ticket of the CPP.
Mr. Toh, you are aware about political arrangement in Liberia. You know the history. The history is not pretty. Can these two men assure Liberia? Because you are a leader, you are the chief administrator of the ANC. You know what's going on in this arrangement. Can these two leaders, can all the leaders assure the Liberian people that this thing's going to hold and that this thing's not going to fall apart?
They have said that. Alexander Cummings has said over and over on countless occasions that the CPP is not going to fall apart, it's going to hold. And I've heard Ambassador Burka committing himself to holding the CPP together. And as a matter of fact, a few days ago, 2 or 3 days ago, he renewed that commitment. And that his major preoccupation right now is to ensure that the CPP doesn't fall apart. So the two leaders are committed to making sure that the CPP holds together. But I'll tell you one thing, look, at some point in the US Democratic elections, Bernie Sanders was leading consistently over a period of time. The paradigm shifted. Joe Biden took the lead during the last minute.
Yeah.
And who's president today? And that was during the primary, though.
Mm-hmm.
During the Democratic primaries, Bernie Sanders was always leading. And he was a loggerhead with Joe Biden. In just few weeks to elections, Biden took over. And he never came back.
All right.
Watch
Mr. Toh.
The Democratic Party in the US is holding together today. Watch the CPP. The CPP is going to hold together. Cummings, who was the underdog, is now gaining steam. He's taken over from the perception of popularity. Those who said others were popular, Cummings is taking over that perception right now. his Guinness team, and eventually he's going to be preferred as the choice of the CPP. And when they go to elections, Cummings, Cummings like Joe Biden is going to whip Joshua like Donald Trump was flocked.
Well, earlier when you were speaking, you talk about the most energetic person in the CPP going to win. Were you trying to throw a jab at Joseph Imambwaka?
No, I was not. I'm saying leadership requires energy. It
And you think
requires vision.
Joe has energy?
I think he has energy. Joe has energy. His Excellency Ambassador Burger has energy. But I think leadership also requires freshness of ideas. Mm-hmm. And this is why, in our African culture, the older people are relying on for wisdom, but younger people are relying on for leadership. So in this sense, I think we should rely on Cummings for leadership, and Ambassador Burger can be relied upon for his wisdom. And I think he can be an enormous help to Cummings by providing wisdom to Cummings on how to rule the country, by advising Cummings.
In what capacity? Like vice president or just advisor?
He can. Look, let me tell you, the Honorable Burger has paid his due, and he's respected. I admire him, I love him, I respect him a lot. He has paid his due to this country. It is time for him to advise people, like his best friend Cummings, and using his experience in government to provide profound advice on how where this country is coming from, where it is going. But leadership in Liberia really need freshness of ideas.
I couldn't agree with you more, and this is why I said here every time I have the chance to ask those of you who are driving the national conversations about who becomes Liberia's next president. I always try to reach out to you guys to ask the question. But one of the reasons you guys they show is it because that you can go into that deeper pocket and probably buy Mr. Bwaka out. Is that why you're so sure? Because you're not leaving anything.
No, I think. I don't think so. And His Excellency Ambassador Bwaka is too big to be bought. This is an honorable man. This is an honorable statesman, and I think it's belittling to even imply that he can be bought. No, and I would not agree. I disagree with you on that. He cannot be bought, and no one is intending to buy His Excellency. All we are saying, and I've said that over and over, I think this country can benefit from his enormous wisdom if he advises a younger leader to lead. All over Africa, you see people of wisdom, people of age advise young people in leadership. And sometimes they form council of elders to provide leadership to maintain stability in the country.
All right.
And I think Ambassador Burger, he has paid his due to this country. He served this country well. He should be honored for that. He should be appreciated. And I do honor him. I appreciate him. But I think it is time to turn the gavel over to the younger generation.
And Mr. Toa, we are focused on Liberia Bank conducting some opinion poll who should be Liberia's next president, and we have another poll going also who should lead the CPP ticket, and we want to show you some of the results. So on the primary here, we asked the question who should head the CPP ticket. In 2023, we got 42 responses. 742 responses. Of the 742 responses, 50.9 percent says Mr. Alexander Benedict Cummings should be the head of the CPP ticket.
Of course, that result that says Alexander Cummings should be the head of the CPP is ordained by God himself.
All right. And then the 39.4% and for Bwaka, and then 9.7% for what's his name, Mr. Abraham Darius DeLong. And then when we pull for the presidential, the pool is ongoing now. Those of you following us here, if you see Focus on Liberia there, that's the pool you can participate. Who said, who is your choice for the next president of Liberia? We just started this one, and we have 152 responses, which is nothing so far. Then again, Cummings netting 51.3%,
Oh,
followed by Joseph Yuma Boakai, 28.9%.
God is
So,
working in this age.
and we want to caution those listening to us. This is a poll by Focus on Liberia. Most of the people that participated in the poll are people who are on social media, because that's where we post the poll, and those who it seems to be that most of the ANC folks are active on social media. But what I want to say also is, when we conducted a poll in 2019 and 2020, we noticed that Joseph Yuman Boakai was leading all the time, even though we didn't get significant number of people responding. We're trying to do this thing so that Liberia can develop this understanding that we need to pull our, leaders, and also pull just about everything in the country so that we can get an understanding of, what people are thinking. So from what we see, there is a little momentum there for Mr. Alexander Benedict Cummings. So you think this trend will continue? Because earlier you said that when the Democratic primary started, Bernie Sanders was the one who they favor at the time, and out of the sudden, it turned in Joe Biden's favor. Can this thing turn in Boakai's favor as we see it?
Look, you have to understand the dynamics and the trend.
Okay.
The trend are favoring Cummings, and it is most unlikely that they are going to reverse.
Okay.
It is most unlikely that they are going to reverse. Look, and let me tell you something, Sonny. Just as God himself sent the prophet to the house of Jesse to anoint David as the king of Israel, you may not realize it, but those polls you are conducting, God is using you. God is using you to get the responses of Liberians, so that through their perception of who is legitimate to lead them in this country, you can anoint Alexander Cummings as the next president of Liberia. God may be using you. You need to pray about it.
Well, Mr. Toh, I believe there is God, but I don't pray. I work. And I believe in hard work, and I expect that my hard work will be blessed. But I
Pray and
respect
work.
prayer also.
Pray and
So
work.
what I'm going to say to anybody who have interest, like Mr. Cummings and Mr. Boakai, they should all do the hard work and go to the Liberian people, because at the end of the day, God will pass through the Liberian people to decide.
Precisely. And Cummings is working very hard. As I told you 3 or 4 weeks ago, he was in Nimba County. Last 2 weeks ago, he was in Bon County. Last week, he was in Mosorado County. This week, he's in Bon County, in Grand Bassa County. He's spending 5 days in Grand Bassa County. He went there yesterday. He's going to be there up to Friday night, sleeping with the people, living with them, eating with them, from village to village, from town to town, crossing the bridges, crossing the creeks and the rivers, crossing the jungles and the bushes, tracking the savannas. He's everywhere.
He's everywhere, he said. He's
And
everywhere.
everywhere he went, he went about doing good. When the lepers saw him, they are walking in Grand Bassa County right now. Even when the cripples saw him, they started jumping for him. Cummings is in Grand Bassa County.
All right. Well, Mr. Toh, again, we want to say thank you. I call you here for an hour. Those of you who are following us, but man, it seems to be you're getting some light.
Yeah, we got it. No, welcome to Liberia. I'm having some light.
Okay, that is good, because I was wondering, when Mr. Toh is making a closing statement, he will not be seen, but I see that there is some light. So we want to take leave of you. Again, we will not hesitate to call on you. We want to appeal to you to talk to Mr. Alexander Cummings. We here at Focus on Liberia would like to also have an interview with him. If you can make that arrangement for us, we appreciate it. We have made some efforts, but we have to keep making that effort. Please help us if you can.
I will get a word. I will convey I will convey a request to Mr. Cummings, and rest assured he's going to respond positively.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. At this time, we will get your closing statement on this rumor that have been going around, and also conclude with the issue you said earlier about the CPP arrangement going forward.
So within the CPP, for us at ANC, the movements are captivating. The prospects are good, although it is too soon to be overly optimistic, but we are confident that come next year, Alexander Cummings is going to be declared the standard bearer of the CPP. And come 2023, in the month of October, somewhere around November, when the results of presidential elections are announced, Alexander Cummings is going to be announced the next president of the Republic of Liberia. God bless us all. Thank you very much, Anthony.
Mr. Toll, thank you so very much. We appreciate you always honoring our call here. Focus on Liberia. Folks, sorry, we apologize because of time. This is how we'll come to the end of this broadcast here at Focus on Liberia. Catch us tomorrow. We will have another program at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. That will be our program called Roundtable Africa. The topic we will be discussing, folks, is the youth. Oh, I love that one. We will be talking about the youth of Liberia, the youth of Africa. We want to know whether the youth are prepared to take leadership, because our fathers have been ahead of leadership right now. I mean, have been ahead of leadership in Africa from the day that continent became known as Africa. Our fathers, and sometimes I can say our grandfathers, have been leading Africa, especially our individual countries, if I can pull it that way. And what we're seeing in my home country, Liberia, is nothing but poverty, unemployment, and challenges upon challenges. Our institutions are in complete ruin. They are ineffective. We have people on payroll, they can't even work. Can the youth change that? That is the topic we'll be discussing on Roundtable Africa here. I focus on Liberia. My two smart guys, Sekou Kala and Edward Amara, they are doing the research. We will bring you some statistics, we will bring you some numbers, and they will be able to use their philosophical mind to tell you whether or not the youth of Africa are prepared to take over the mantle of leadership to change the story of the continent, and whether or not the youth in Liberia also ready to take on the baton to change the story of Liberia. I am Anthony Cyr. I brought you yet another exciting edition of the Hour of Politics here at Focus on Liberia, where we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. Now our song, that song says, we are all Liberians. And that song is taking us home. Bye-bye, and thanks for watching.
We are Liberians.